Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Becca Marino and I am a soul mentor here to guide you back to the magic within your soul. Today I'm going to talk about thought and the title will be Just Because You Think It Doesn't Make It True. So for the longest time, as a child and as a teenager, I always thought that the thoughts in my head were me. So if I thought something positive, that meant I'm a positive person and I'm a nice person and I'm a good person. And if a negative thought popped into my head, that meant I was negative and I was a bad person. And I kind of lived in this sort of wave. And as you can imagine, we get millions of thoughts in a day. So I was very confused as a child and as a teenager, because I would get an array of thoughts, varying in whether I deem them as good or bad or positive or negative. And so the majority of the time I was a very optimistic person and I focused on the positive. But I believe through my misunderstanding, what happened was I focused so much on the positive that when the negative hit, it hit hard. And I completely went to rock bottom and thought all my efforts in making myself think positive, focusing on being an optimistic person, looking to the silver lining, I believed all those efforts were for nothing. And I was just a failure and I couldn't get it right. I couldn't get life right. And what I see now, that the fundamental, the biggest thing that has helped me now is to know that I am not my thinking. When I'm more than that, I am bigger than that. I am before my thoughts. The me that came here as a spiritual being to have a human experience is bigger than my thinking. It's so much bigger than that, and it's so much more powerful. The only thing that gives my thoughts power is me believing that they have power over me. So now I'm not saying that I live my life in perfection and never feel upset or miserable, or I'm not saying that. That's not what being human is about. A spiritual being hasn't got those judgments on what's good or bad, what's painful and what's not painful. Like that, us at our true nature, we don't have that judgment. But like God doesn't have that judgment, or higher power or magic behind life. Feel free to substitute that word. We don't have that. When we look back and we take a step back and see the whole picture, our spiritual nature doesn't have a judgment on what's going on. It just came here to be human. It's like if you were to go to a cinema to watch a scary movie and they put on Paw Patrol. And if you're not familiar with what Paw Patrol is, because you don't have kids in your life, that it's a kids program, you're going to be very disappointed if you turn up at the cinema expecting to watch a scary movie. You know what it entails. It entails something that's going to scare you. It's going to get your heart pumping. And they put a show with talking dogs who solve missions. You're going to be very disappointed. So as a spiritual being, we came here to have a human experience. So us as that spiritual being is neutral. It stays in neutral. It has no judgment. It has no feelings. It has no thoughts. It doesn't have a plus or a minus, and it doesn't have expectations or an agenda or desires. It just is, and it's happy. You know, metaphorically, because it doesn't have what we have as humans. So if we really go back as that spiritual being, we go back into it, we go back into that spiritual being, we will no longer be human, or we will be a very peculiar human that doesn't make sense in the society we live in today. So in order to continue to have this human experience, we need both. So it looks like there's two things, but maybe that's a video for another time. It's really just the one thing. It's like two halves, but yet they're completed. We're 100% spiritual beings and 100% human beings. So with that all-powerful being holding us up, supporting us, being our go-to place, being our home, and then we are human, having thoughts, having experiences, feelings, emotions, all of these things that go on as part of being a human being. We have that support of the all-powerful spiritual part of us, the essence behind life, the magic behind life, that is guiding us through, through this human experience, which can seem very scary, but that is the point of it. That is the point of being here as a human being, is to feel intensely our thinking, because that's all it is. Every experience that we have out in form, it's only ever our thinking, and it's never a direct contact of what's happening. We are not feeling the rain. We are feeling the thought we have on the rain. We are not feeling when somebody says something mean to us. We're not directly feeling their words. We're feeling the thought of what we make of their words. When a thought pops into our head, we are directly feeling that thought. And so if that thought is negative, if that thought is against your true nature, which is love, peace, and wisdom, if it's against it, we feel that disconnection, we feel pain, we suffer, because what we're feeling is coming from our thoughts, and that's all there is. So when we believe that our thoughts are us, when we misunderstand that and we think what we're thinking deems who we are, good or bad, we will suffer as well, because we're not our thinking, and our thinking changes. It can change from one moment to the next. For example, have you ever, decided you wanted something and then you get it and it's like, actually, I don't really want it. Or, you're in a shop and you're trying to choose, a bakery, maybe you're trying to choose from biscuits or cakes, or what do I want? I don't know what I want. And then you choose, and then you actually, no, I don't want that. And then you choose something else. And then you get to the till, so you have to make the decision. And then you've chosen something else altogether. I don't know if anyone else experiences that, but I definitely do. It's just so overwhelming with all this choice, and within the space of a queue, I can change my mind up to 3 or 4 times, and sometimes I know exactly what I want, and that's it. I don't change my mind, but it's just an idea. I'm only saying this example to get a feel for how quick our thinking can change. So if we're feeling, in a very depressed state of consciousness and we're feeling very low, chances are we're not going to stay there for long. But when we grab onto the thought, okay, why am I feeling depressed? Okay, yeah, I'm feeling depressed because that person, and we really dwell on the details of what's going on and why we're feeling that, and how can we get out of it? And we're just continuously sort of ruminating and chewing on the depression. It's not going to go, because you're just feeding into that depressive thought. So we can't control our thoughts. It isn't that. It's just knowing that depression, that thought isn't you. Doesn't have to be you. You can gently guide your thinking to a more uplifting space, and it's just looking for that next best feeling. I've mentioned maybe a few of my other videos that when I was a teenager, I went through about 5 years of depression. And if I was to look back, I wasn't depressed all the time. But in that space, when I was there, when I was living it, it felt like I was. It felt like I was always sad. I was always crying and I was always miserable. But that couldn't have been the case because we're not stationary, we're not static. Our thinking changes and our mood lifts. It's just the way I saw it then was the way I saw it then, and the way I see it now is so much more uplifting. It's, I was never stuck in a depression, and I actually overcame the depression overnight. It was literally one day I woke up and decided that I wanted to live and I wanted to live for me. And for the longest time, I don't know where that came from or how that happened. But now I know I got a new thought. Something new popped into my head and it shifted everything. It shifted my lifestyle. It shifted all my thinking and it shifted my feelings and it led me to where I am now. So it's not a matter of, holding down your thoughts and forcing them to be something that they're not. It's more like cloud watching. Like if you go to the park and you put a picnic mat on the floor and you lie and look up at the clouds. Looking up at my ceiling, there's no clouds here, just a ceiling. And you look at the clouds and you just watch them go by. Nothing in you want like makes you want to grab onto the cloud or at least try. You might want to do it because it looks fun, but you don't try to grab onto that cloud and hold it down. It would be very difficult and maybe impossible. The science behind it will probably it's just vapor. Um, but it's what we do with our thinking. Something pops up when we're happy and we're having a good time and everything's great. We don't question it. We don't try to change it. We don't hold it down. We don't analyze it. We don't crack it open. We're just in the present moment and we're loving it. And that's it. We're there. So when something negative comes up, you're feeling a bit rubbish, feeling a bit maybe under the weather, either physically or emotionally. In my opinion, it's the same thing. Two sides of the same coin. We analyze it. We break it apart. Why am I feeling like this? Why am I ill? What did I do? Oh, just stop. Feeling bad is just the same as feeling good. So when we feel bad, it's just part of being human, and breaking it apart and opening it up and analyzing it and talking about it until you're blue in the face isn't where the answer lies. Continue searching there and it will only get worse. It will only expand. You'll get more of what you don't want if you continue searching in the details of what you don't know. It's look to your spiritual nature, look to your truth, look to the peace, love, and wisdom that you are. And from there, you will get new thought. You will get a new idea. Something else will occur to you, and you will do something different. And then from that inside, from that internal change will then have to happen on the outside because how can it not? So I hope there was something helpful in today's video. And as always, please have a play with this. Don't take my word, experiment for yourself. If there's something that isn't going right in your world at the moment, or you just want to play with something, oh, can I view that differently? Go and play with it because trust me, you will see the magic unfolding before your eyes. Even now, 5 years in, I am still seeing this again and again. There's always something new to see. And it's just fun. It's a fun way to live life. It's like it's a lifestyle of being able to play the game of life with joy and with ease. So yeah, I hope you experiment with that and do let me know how you get on. And if you've got any personal questions that you don't wish to be shared on YouTube, please feel free to email me and subscribe to my mailing list if you don't want to miss out on anything happening in my world. So I hope you have a lovely day and I will see you again in the next video. All the best now. Bye.